Well, if you're in the market for an EV and you haven't bought an EV because you always had that range anxiety issue, you always thought, well, how do I take it from Delhi to Chandigarh or from Mumbai to Pune, because the range will end and I'll be stranded on the highway. Forget all those issues now, because this here is the new Tata Nexon EV with the upgraded range, and this one offers you a range of 437 kilometers, which is a little more than 100 kilometers extra over the original car. Now, we're not going to test it today in terms of range, but we'll show you what's new on the car, what's new on the interiors, what's new in terms of the features, because when Tata says that the range is that much, you have to believe them, and because Tata is one of the most responsible and best companies, not only in the manufacturing of vehicles, but generally Tata Motors, whatever they say, and Tata as a group, whatever they say, you have to believe them, and don't believe other YouTube videos when you see those fuel reviews and economy reviews or range reviews, because every driver is different, every situation is different, you might drive differently, and all those videos of petrol mileage and diesel mileage aren't done scientifically. They're done in a very random manner, but when manufacturers like these who spend crores of rupees spend that kind of money, they do it in a scientific and in a technologically well balanced environment. So don't believe everything you see on the net, but do believe this video, because I'm going to tell you about the new features, the new kit, and how it is to drive today's video. If you like it, do like it and give us a thumbs up. If you don't like it, still give us a thumbs up, and don't leave without subscribing to this channel. Let's get started with the Nexon EV long range. All of you are aware that Woodmo are the online expert when it comes to spare parts, and the best point is that they have the spare parts for all vehicles available in India. So even if your car is out of production now, maybe you have a large generation model, even then they have the spare part available, they have the entire catalog, and the best point is that they have the same spare part from a host of different component makers, which gives you great flexibility in the pricing overall. So check them out today, check out the app, it's available both for iOS as well as Android devices. Well, so you're in the cabin now of the Nexon EV. Now, if you're wondering what is new inside the cabin, there's a lot to talk about in terms of what's new. First up, the seat fabric, the color of this has been slightly modified. It's a lighter shade now, and you also get this blue stitching, which shows you the amount of attention to detail that Tata has paid on the interior. Looks very nice and bright and airy, and definitely has a sense of luxury about itself, because this now is quite expensive SUV, so it has to have that sense of luxury. What you'll also appreciate is this, the gear lever, the gear knob has its own display, and it looks very cool. You can of course check and change whatever gear you want to put it in, neutral, D, or the parking mode in which we are at the moment. So this is something cool. You also get different modes to choose from. Economy mode,
economy drive mode activated.
And you also get, of course, the sport mode.
Sport drive mode activated.
And you can also choose the regeneration braking, the levels of the regeneration braking, by pressing this button here. So from 1, 2, or 3, whatever you want to choose. And of course, you get electric parking brake and an auto hold function as well. And of course, there are plethora of buttons here as well. Lock unlock, boot opening, as well as the hill descent control button is over here. Automatic climate control. These are the ones which feel a little flimsy and not at par with the other buttons in the car. Rest of the cabin, the rest of the overall materials are very good, but these ones could have been slightly better, but nonetheless, I'm just nitpicking at the moment. It is quite a solidly made car, very well put together. The steering wheel, well, it adjusts for rake, but not for reach, but that's quite okay, because you can always adjust the height of the seat and find your own comfortable driving position. The gauges are semi-digital and semi-analog. Let me just show them to you once, taking the camera from my camera person. And as you can see over here, you can see this is of course the analog part, this is the completely digital part. Looks very fancy, and if you change it from a sport mode to economy mode,
economy drive mode activated,
it goes from red to green. The only big negative inside this car is this, the Harman sound system. The stereo is good, the quality of music is good, but this screen is really small, and even though it has AQI meter and other stuff in it now, you can also change the air conditioning settings from here, which is a very good thing, because you don't have to take your eyes off the road. But it's very small, and it gets a little laggy as well. It's not the quickest responding system in the business, so that's something which you have to be careful about. Cabin air quality you can always check, because the air purifier is inside this car. Overall though, nice place to be, lots of place to keep your odds and ends. There's one big tray over here where you can of course keep a lot of stuff. Couple of places over here, and of course the doorbells are large enough to house those big bottles. At the moment we've got a cleaning cloth, because that's something which is very important when you go out on a shoot. And this of course is the umbrella holder in case you forget, and you also get something to keep over here. Anyways guys, now let's jump in the back seat and see how good that really is. Well, so I'm in the back seat now of the Tata Nexon. I have to say that in terms of knee room, it is quite decent, and the seats, they haven't been raised up too much, but you can still keep your feet under them. Headroom is quite okay as well. because Tata has scooped out the roof at the back. The backrest angle is quite decent as well, and the cushioning on these seats is nice and comfortable. These seats are very pleasant to sit in, and on long distance journeys you will not tire in them. Also, you get an armrest with a couple of beverage holders over here, and if you tuck it away, if you just put it away, you also get a nice and wide seat, so 3 people here can sit quite easily. The throw of air from the AC vents is also very strong, which means that on long distance journey, if you are actually sitting here, you will be quite okay in these seats, because this is a car which has a range of 437 kilometers. I am sure many of you will take this car from Delhi to Chandigarh or from Mumbai to Pune, because it can generally achieve that kind of distance. Anyways, now let's see how big the boot is, and after that we'll give you a verdict of the Nexon EV. Well, so here I am driving the Nexon EV now. Now this car doesn't only have its range extended, the battery pack is more powerful, the drivetrain rather is more powerful. It's over 140 bhp now, which makes it quite a powerful car. And of course, as you all know, the range has gone up to 437 kilometers claimed, so that's also quite good. And the best point is that just like the old car, all that torque and power is available right from the word go. In fact, it feels more powerful and more punchy than the early version of the car. So you've got to be a little careful with your right leg, the accelerator pedal, before you flex it, because you never know. You might be doing illegal speeds before you know it, and then you might get a challan at home and have to pay a heavy fine to the police and the authorities. So you've got to be a little careful with your right leg. It's also a very silent car. All EVs are. So that's not something new with an EV, but it's really silent, very, very quiet inside the cabin. And once you shut off the doors, it really is a car which cocoons you from the world outside, because it's a heavy car as well in terms of the build quality and the materials. Everything is really fantastic. So it just cocoons you from the world outside. Ride comfort is good. The car suspension definitely has been stiffened up compared to the diesel and petrol because of the weight of the battery pack. So definitely it feels a little firmer. And what you'll also like is the fact that the stability is excellent. At the moment we're driving in the city, but we did take it out briefly on the highway towards the Agra highway, Greater Noida highway. We did of course climb the Agra highway, but we did touch speeds in excess of 100 kph just to test it out, and it really feels very solid, very, very stable, and definitely has a sense of confidence about itself. So that, coupled with the fact that the Nexon's structure is so solid and it is a very rigid car, it just gives you a sense of great confidence when you will be traveling in it with your entire family. Of course, you can also choose different driving modes on this car. You get the sport mode and you also get the economy mode. And if
Economy drive mode activated.
And if you do use the economy mode, then it does feel like somebody has, if you lived in the 90s and if you lived in the early part of the 2000s, when carbureted cars were really, really the roost. So if you remember, if you used to switch off the air conditioning at that time, you hit the compressor button over here, and suddenly the power boost was there, the power was a little more available. It's just that kind of feeling that you'll get even on this car when you put it in the economy mode. And of course, if you put it in the sport mode,
sport drive mode active.
It actually feels that
economy drive mode activated.
It feels as if somebody has actually turned the AC on and off. I am sure you understand what I'm trying to say. If you have lived in the 90s, you were a kid of the 90s and the 80s and the early 2000s, it's something we'll easily understand and relate to. What else is there to like about the car? Well, the steering wheel is quite accurate. It's a light unit. It's not a very heavy unit, but even then, accuracy levels are very good. And body roll is there. It's a little bit there, but you can't negate the body roll because it's an SUV. It's a tall SUV at the end of the day. Ground clearance is quite high, so that body roll cannot be negated, and it's an SUV, so you have to have body roll, but it's under control. The grip from the tires is very good, and it just feels nice to drive. As I said, it's a completely brilliant car in terms of the driving bits. It's very well engineered, and kudos to Tata engineering team to deliver such a fantastic product. Of course, this is now available with regenerative braking options. Earlier car wasn't available with so many options, so you can choose level 1, level 2, or 3. And of course, the braking, when you remove your foot from the accelerator, automatically the car's regenerative braking takes on, and the dive, the brakes, effect, and that of course helps the overall battery efficiency even more. It regenerates the battery, and that's something which gives you better range as well. That's something which a lot of customers will also like, especially those of you who travel a lot on the highway, because this is something which is available on this car. So overall, what is my idea of this car? What is my overall review? I think it's a very good product. It's a very well-made product, very well-sorted product, and definitely Tata Motors deserves all the credit, all the plus points that they're getting in the market for this car. It's going to be a great package and definitely a winner in my book. Thanks guys for watching this video. I'll stop this car now and give you some other details about it. Well, so the EV Max does cost you about one. Well, so overall, the pricing of this car is about 1.5 lakh rupees more than the regular Nexon EV, but you do get a lot of features extra, and you also do get that extra bit of range, which should eliminate any range anxiety issues. If you are someone who uses the car on the highways a lot, then definitely the extra 1.5 lakh rupees is worth investing. But of course, if you are someone who drives all the time in the city and you don't really care about the extra 100 odd kilometers of range, then the Nexon EV in itself is a very good car. I, though, will go for the EV Max because I get extra features, slightly better interiors, and of course, the range anxiety issue is completely driven out. It's bye for now, and thanks so much for watching.